Well, Alex back in the top 10. Congrats on DC. What a great run. I get the sense it was no accident. That kind of run, that kind of achievement comes after just taking a break. After Wimbledon, shutting it down for a minute, recharging. What did that do for you?
Yeah, look, I think it was a very important moment in my life and in my career after Roland Garros. Feeling the way I did was something that I never wanted to feel again, and I looked at myself in the mirror and knew that I had to change something. So from then on was kind of the process into getting back into the right headspace and mindset.
And after Roland Garros, for our audience who
Yeah,
may not know, a little bit of burnout, just kind of hit a wall.
I just hit a wall. I felt like, yeah, it was just too much for me, and that's something that I hadn't felt ever, right? So I needed to kind of take a step back and change my priorities a little bit, because I had been chasing for the longest time, the career highs, defending points, worrying every single week about what people around me were doing because I wanted to be ranked a certain number, and it just ended up taking a toll on me mentally. So I needed to shift from that mindset and get to a mindset of just worrying about myself and believing that I'm a top 10 player, no matter what the ranking says at
Sure.
that time. And then if I'm healthy, both in my body and in my mind, that I can produce the goods any given week. So having that confidence in myself was a big change in kind of shifting those priorities.
And one of the interesting things that you mentioned, you said, look, I just have to have the mindset of not putting too much pressure on myself. Like the goal can't just be whatever the number
Yeah.
is. When you kind of are able to unlock that, what can that do for you?
Well, ultimately, you start seeing things from a different perspective, right? When you're driven by a number, by a focus, you can't really. Sometimes you get stuck because there's so much extra tension and pressure you put on yourself every
Right.
single time you step out on court. Every single time I went out on the practice court, I had some stress because I wanted to win that practice. I wanted to improve. I wanted to feel the ball well because I knew it was a big week for me. And ultimately, when you are in a calmer mindset, you find solutions to problems, right? And life is a little bit easier. You play a little bit more relaxed, and that's when the best tennis comes, right? It's easier said than done. It isn't easy getting to that
Sure.
space, but once you kind of unlock it, everything becomes a little bit easier.
You know, it's interesting. I'm listening to you say that. I think back to a baseball player I chatted with a few years ago, an all-star, a World Series champion. And I said, when did things start to really unlock for you? When did you start to kind of take that next step in your career? He said, when I would leave the stadium, I stopped thinking about baseball. I became a husband, I became a dad, or I just go to the hotel and just chill. And then when I came back the next day to the stadium, that's when I went into work mode. And you've kind of made the point, hey, I like going for coffee. I want to go check out the cities. I'm not just going from airport to site to hotel, going to restaurants and checking these places out, taking care of stuff off the court. What's that done for you on the court?
For me, it's, as we all know, the life of a tennis player is being on the go non-stop.
Right.
It's fast-paced, right? You play every single week. You finish a week, you got to fly on to the next. There's no real time to savor a moment. So for me, it's been huge to switch off. And that's the biggest thing, switch off from being a tennis player and being a human being and doing the things that I like. And that's going out, finding good coffee shops, going out, discovering the city, and doing what I would say is what normal people do, right? And actually have a second to enjoy yourself and live a more slow-paced life. So it's been really important for me.
Let's talk a little tennis. 2 years ago here, I remember we had a conversation after the semifinal win, and I asked you just how kind of important a moment this was, and you said, it's huge because it's validating. It now kind of reaffirms all the work I've put in. And you said, now I can kind of have the mindset, I can do this all the time. What did 2023 do for Alex de Minaur getting to a 1,000 final here in terms of the trajectory your career's been on since?
Oh, it was a huge moment for me because ultimately what I was battling so hard in that stage of my career was that in the bigger tournaments, I just couldn't break through. I
Right.
couldn't break through and have that deep result, that good result that would kind of take me onto the next level, right? I had given myself plenty of opportunities throughout the year. I win a lot of matches in lower events, but the main focus was in the Masters and in the Grand Slams to go deep, right? Because for me to take the next level and the next step, it's going deep in these tournaments. And that was the first time I was able to do that. And yeah, as you said, it gave me that validation of results, right? I can do this. So why not keep putting myself in those positions, and why not keep showing up and hopefully have more deep runs?
So I want to bring this all together. I know you don't want to put too much pressure on yourself. I know the goals are different. But your boy Kyrgios, I'm listening to Nick on a podcast with Patrick right before Wimbledon. And Nick's saying to him, who could be the guy who's going to emerge? And your name comes up. You're now being talked about in these circles as the potential next one to emerge to lift a major championship trophy. What do you make of that? What does that mean to you? What's your thought about now being in that conversation with the best in the game?
The way I see it is a huge compliment, right? 3 or 4 years ago, there was no way my name was being thrown away
Right.
in these types of conversations. So I take that as a compliment. I think, there's definitely a lot of work to be done. And I definitely am putting that work to get to those stages, because that is my goal at this stage in my career. It is the Masters and the majors, going deep and potentially trying to lift these trophies, and ultimately playing these tournaments not as someone else in the draw, but someone that is a genuine threat to go deep and be amongst the last people in the tournament. So it is important. I'm on the right track. I'm doing the right things. And as I said a little bit in Washington, I am happy if the result doesn't go my way. I'm okay dealing with that, which is the biggest thing. I know the way I need to play, the way I need to compete, the way I need to go out there on the court, and that's the right direction, and that's the only way forward. So it will come, it will put me in the right direction, it will give me the best chance to do so, and that's what I'm looking forward to.
Stay healthy, man.
Thank you, mate.
Thanks for the time.